Excerpt from erotic short story. The Vigor and Valor of Jolene. Copyright by Cupidorus, July 2, 2012. Title: The Vigor and Valor of Jolene. Short description: Jolene loves to flash boys at her prestigious high school. After gym class, she is sent to the psychologist to talk about this. He wants her to keep a journal to write down what happened before she wants to flash guys. Hopefully this will cure her, says the psychologist, but Jolene doesn't think anything is wrong with her. Does Jolene get cured? Was she ever sick? Read and find out. Eye-catching blub. All that happened on just day 1 of my log journal. Day 2, I played hooky, skipped school, stayed home to watch MTV or YouTube, whatever term your generation remembers for not going to school, after watching some really cool informational stuff like how to flirt with boys and the 12 reasons why boys think you are a slut on YouTube. I decided to go out for some chocolate chip cookies. Never mind that I wore my school outfit on the day I played hooky, cause it's hard to explain. I bought my cookies from the Baskin and Robbins, ate all 3. See, gluttonies didn't get me. I got this tingly sensation in my hippie cushion again. Whenever that happens, watch out. I decided for unknown reasons to turn down this dirty, stinking alleyway. Whatever. The Vigor and Valor of Jolene. Copyright by Cupidorus, July 2, 2012. 371 words. I'm a straight A student in a prestigious high school, age 18. I love buying clothes. I look good hot. I always think about dyeing my blonde hair, but never do I listen to the latest rap songs, especially if they tell a white girl how to shake her booty. And just to blow my nerd image, sometimes I come to school late. If you hang around, I will tell you some of the temptations a happy schoolgirl happily addicted to flashing her pretty pussy on a typical school day. I began this log journal last month because my psychologist suggested it. Now I want to tell you, don't listen to these psychologists, because they're just perverts hiding behind a gazillion professional degrees and DDDS, PhDBS. That last one we all know means bullshit. I had a small tendency toward flashing my goodies to boys in gym class, and this dumb perv psychologist turned it into a raging obsession, just like the perfume every girl has flashed once in her life. No harm done. Every boy wants to see a girl flash her panties, or even better, her bare region below her pubic hair region. For you technical pervs out there reading, but my teacher sent me to a psychologist who sat behind a huge dark wooden desk listening, making me tell him all my sexual fantasies. I kinda didn't trust him, to be honest. I kind of felt those weird goldfish sounds flopping at the top of the fish tank duplicated the sounds of a man jerking off his wet cock. Anyhow, he said, "Jolene, tell me exactly what happened today." "I don't remember," I said, lying down on his black leather couch. "It kinda smelled like Jolly sauce. I didn't want to go there." This was written in retrospect, so now I know it was some girl's pussy sauce. "You must remember, Jolene, because you admitted to flashing some boys. Those boys remember girls flashing when no girls flashed them, 'cause that's how boys are. They make up things." I crossed my ankles together. I wore a typical white, almost see-through blouse. All you needed was some of those X-ray glasses they sell to nerds collecting comic books, and I was totally braless. I wore our school uniform, blue and white check skirt down to my knee. Although by the end of these logs I've noticed it became a mini skirt. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. He tapped his pencil eraser on his desk. "How can we ever solve your obsession if you don't try?" I turned to him. "Well, what do you want me to do?" He stopped tapping his eraser on the desk. He tried to see down my cleavage. I turned back around and faced the painting on his wall, a girl running scared out of a dark seashore castle, which strictly reminded me of the fall of the House of Usher or those racy gothic suspense romance novels. "Keep a log of what you did when you flashed in particular." And what caused you to flash at that particular time? Like I said, he's just a professional pervert is all. I went ahead and crossed my ankles. He had dark hair, this psychologist. His dark hair matched his smoldering good looks. He should have worn glasses to stop vulnerable girls like me from lusting after him. Pervert, he might have worn a burlap sack over his body instead of a nice suit, and he didn't care the trouble he caused. I mean, girls have needs, so my thin hogline grew moist between my legs. My nether wings started to unfurl for a sex flight to the land of the big O. I pressed my hands under my ass to prevent any squirming or involuntary wiggling. His voice used sex appeal. I closed my eyes and thought of him naked on top of me, grinding my hips, spreading my legs wider apart. Yup, I'm pretty sure he sexually manipulated many women into a frenzy so he'd smell a whiff of their musky lady juice. My 34C breasts grew weak and quivered ever so slightly under my too small bra. He might as well have come over and licked my aching nipples. He turned up the AC, because my skin grew damp, not as damp as between my tan legs, but damp enough to remember reading Erica John and Nancy Friday. On a lonely night I came. I didn't feel any shame. This surprised me. I felt good, actually relaxed. I didn't need to flash anyone, although my own Lady Musk joined the previous Lady's musk scent and filled out the room rather nicely, like a fine layering of new incense. Day 1. Wore the typical schoolgirl outfit. Required white almost see-through blouse, checked white and blue skirt, hard flat shoes. Suddenly this nice warm tingly feeling starts down there where the heat always stays. This always alerts me I'm going to flash someone now. In the early days I didn't notice this, but this journal is a mix of foresight, hindsight and current events. Bear with me, reader, I'm usually the only one walking the hallways late. I popped my chewing gum really loud to prove how tough I was. I spotted this hunk guy with blue track gym shorts on. For a white boy, his butt cheeks stuck way out there in a nice way. He walked like his front package made his shorts too tight in the rear. Maybe he had a bulge on. I practically saw his ball sacks when he bent down to open his lower locker. He got me so hot I wanted to stroke my shite left in public. By the time I reached my history class, my insides, think womb and pussy, rolled and quivered so much I needed to visit the bathroom. I went into the last stall. Luckily it was clean. I didn't have one of those pocket-sized vibrators. I did have my brother's extra cell phone. Setting the answer on vibrate only, I stuck the machine out my box and called his number with my pink cell. You could say I'm a butt girl, because I relived that blue shorts boy walking, as I circled my cunt faster and faster, meshing and pressing my pink folds down flat, wringing every pin of pleasure from my horny delta, until I exploded in orgasm. After this phenomenal orgasm self-fuck, I pulled out my brother's cell phone and wiped it clean. He doesn't know I have it, because I'm mad at him right now. Back in class we started talking about prostitution in Rome. You won't believe this, but instead of porn magazines they had porn vases and plates. Imagine going over to your finance's house and eating peach pie off a dish displaying a man's face deep between a woman's spread thighs, licking her dish out. I waddled out of class. I needed another telephone buzz. Inside the last stall again I called my brother's cell. My lips quivered, my hips wiggled, my 34C breast sweater puppies jiggled under the white blouse as I smacked my hips up and down. Girls in the bathroom tell all their fucking activities. One girl talked about her beau Leland. I knew Leland about my size. He played running back on the football team. Leland sucked this girl's pussy for an hour. I undressed Leland in my mind, his big husky body ripped and cut. My muscular definition fit for a grade A action adventure movie. Leland's tongue is pierced To his tongue danced over her clit so fast she had multiple orgasms. Then Leland stuck his finger up her sheath. My cunt clinched around Leland's finger. He found her G-spot and kept circling until her love fluids flowed onto his hands. He pulled his hand out of her cunt and licked every finger clean of her saucy juices. I came. When she finished talking about Leland, I knew then my temptations toward flashing guys. My naked quim came back twice as strong, but at least I don't cut myself like some girls do. When they're lonely, I don't steal things from the malls for attention. Temptations come in many forms. The classics are arrogances, avarice, and greed probably mean the same thing. Covetousness, that's a big one amongst girls. Gluttony's another big one amongst girls. From not eating gluttony to gorging yourself, gluttony's hubris. Now the Greeks struggled mightily against that one, so if the wise Greeks had problems, it must be a super negative force. But isn't that the same as pride? Then sloth follows, and finally lust. I think that's my sin. Come to think of it, lust is not so harmful considering all the others that psychologist lugs around. A pair or three of those sins, you have to get more sinful listening to the sins of others every day, right? Someone needs to simplify that list. All that happened on just day 1 of my log journal. Day 2, I played hooky, skipped school, stayed home to watch MTV or YouTube, whatever term your generation remembers for not going to school after watching some really cool informational stuff like how to flirt with boys and the 12 reasons why boys think you are a slut on YouTube. I decided to go out for some chocolate chip cookies. Never mind that I wore my school outfit on the day I played hooky, cause it's hard to explain. I bought my cookies from the Baskin and Robbins, ate all 3. See, gluttonies didn't get me. I got this tingly sensation in my hippie cushion again. Whenever that happens, watch out. I decided for unknown reasons to turn down this dirty stinking alleyway. Whatever. Halfway into the alley, this dirty old man in a long scummy gray raincoat jumps out from behind a combination of trash cans and the black fire escape. Hey little girl, bet you haven't seen one of these. He opened his muddy watercolored raincoat and flashed me his big dick. I wasn't fazed at all. I lifted my skirt. Hey bird, bet you've never seen one of these in real life. I lifted my blue and white checked schoolgirl skirt, flashing my naked sex part. His dirty face, gray straggly hair, ass stared frozen in astonishment. My inverted ace of pussy tops your droopy jack of hearts. For good measure I turned around, bent over, lifted my school skirt again, and pulled my pussy lips apart and said, in case you wanted to play a second-hand perv. The guy lost his semi-hard on and felt so embarrassed he closed his scummy raincoat and ran out of the alley. Where perverts go, I don't even care to think about. All I know is I didn't do wrong flashing my goods. It actually protected me. Although, if I show this to that professional perv from the school, he will turn it into a defeat instead of the victory I won. Besides that, he'll jerk off to my writings after I leave. I bet if I had a quarter for every statement that psychologist jerked off to from girls in my high school, I'd be richer than Warren Gates Chanel. I was lucky I conveniently forgot to wear panties today. Day 5. I don't think having a hidden pussy goodie box is a sin. If it was a sin, why would God put it between my legs? Treasures are meant to be discovered. If it is hidden and I cannot easily see it, then it was meant to easily be seen by someone else. Boys and men. Day 10. My reading about Francois Hamster, who's 1790 in school library, and of course I got that tingly feeling. Problem was, today I knew exactly why I had it. Leland Johnson sat one table away trying to pick up my schoolgirl skirt. I thought, isn't that strange? I don't think my legs are spread. My love spot started making do and I needed to touch myself. I concentrated hard. My legs were closed. Totally closed and proper. If you want to read the rest of The Vigor and Valor of Jolina Kindle erotic short story, you can purchase it for only $1 at amazon.com/author/Cupidorus. Links are provided on my youtube.com download page. Other inspirational and spiritual poetry and prose books worldwide web Cupidorusbooks.com books. Ode to the Cunt and Other Love Poems Poetry 1295 The Haiku Questions Poetry 1295 Woman and Bound Stories Paperback Fiction and Poetry 1295 Quest Girl Sonnets and Cestinus Poetry 995 Cupidorus Canzophone Stories Erotica Fiction 1395 Abstract Concrete Poetry 1895 The Great Opera Poetry and Play La Feminine Heroines and 9 Little Red Riding Hood Endings The Line of Poetry and Ambasarian Poems Poetry 1295 All downloads EPUB from $195 to $499.